So here's why I think Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was probably the most exciting thing showcased at the PlayStation 5 livestream. There was a lot to get excited about at the PlayStation 5's livestream. The appearance of the console, the return of the Oddworld franchise, and of course Spider-Man Miles Morales. But I think the game that showcased the absolute best of the PlayStation 5's capabilities and what will set this console apart from its predecessor is Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Now, for starters, what better way to start a new PlayStation generation than with a Ratchet & Clank game? This is so much better than how the PlayStation 4 started off with Knack being the console's immediate distinguishable sort of claim to fame. Now, I'm not a long-time Ratchet & Clank fan. I only got into Ratchet & Clank with the most recent game that came out to accompany the Ratchet & Clank movie. But I did play through it and I thought it was a spectacular video game, and even though I'm not a seasoned Ratchet & Clank veteran, I can see the big upgrades in Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart recently announced for the PlayStation 5, and how Rift Apart is utilizing the many new features of the PlayStation 5. So something worth noting is that I think Ratchet & Clank, the movie tie-in game, had some of the best visuals for any platformer on the PlayStation 4. The game looked fantastic. It really wasn't a million miles away from looking like the movie did. I think the visual jump up from the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 5 isn't necessarily as much as it was with, say, the PlayStation 3 to the PlayStation 4, or the PlayStation 2 especially, to the PlayStation 3. However, there are some definite upgrades here that are being showcased in the footage as we get a really nice look at Ratchet's fur texture. To the untrained eye, I wouldn't say it looks that much different to the previous game. However, when you really do take a close look, you can really see the graphical jump up here. And I think everything is going to have a much more atmospheric feel to it thanks to the power of the PlayStation 5's ray tracing capabilities. And that's something worth noting, is that Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart does look like a very atmospheric game. There's a lot going on in these environments, to a point where everything just has more of a sense of texture to it than it did with the PlayStation 4 release. However, the big thing they really showed off in this trailer was how Ratchet & Clank can now go through different worlds at a very breakneck pace. No more navigating through a menu screen to then watch a few load times to then load up the new levels. Ratchet & Clank are just blasting their way through world to world to world, and it only takes a quick glance to see how big, vast, and intricately designed these worlds are. There's no draw distance stuff going on, at least that I can see. They are loading up massive, expansive, and incredibly detailed environments in a second. That is absolutely incredible, and that is down to the PlayStation 5's solid-state drive implementation. Now, I've been using solid-state drives with my laptop for about the past couple of years, and I swear by the solid-state drive that I think they're way better than hard disk drives. I'm sure someone can argue with me. I'm not the biggest tech head in the world, but from my experience anyway, I just think the solid-state drive is the best for me, and it's going to be the best for the PlayStation 5. So previous games consoles have had hard disk drives, and hard disk drives take a lot longer to read data. They are a more primitive piece of technology, and I know people can argue the merits, but the solid-state drive can load up big data within seconds. So what this means for Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is that they can load up these giant expansive worlds that we know and love from the Ratchet & Clank game series, but in the blink of an eye. And what this might mean for most PS5 games going forward is that there will not be loading screens. Loading screens will be a thing of the past, unless they decide to make the data bigger and go ham on all the textures and go ham on all the geometry and make, you know, the most pristine looking game ever. The odds are loading screens will be a thing of the past. And I mean, all things considered, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart looks absolutely fantastic on a visual level. There's so much going on screen, there's no frame rate drops in this footage, the world hopping is absolutely seamless, and that is an absolutely revolutionary feat for any video game. You might not have noticed it, but it is truly, truly revolutionary. This is state of the art. This is the PlayStation 5's je ne sais quoi. This is what's gonna make the PlayStation 5 matter. And it will also make Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart the perfect launch title for the PlayStation 5. Now, very little is known about the storyline of this game, but it's safe to assume that Dr. Nefarious is up to no good again. We've got a lot of robotic characters, so hopefully we'll be seeing Dr. Dr. Nefarious outside of his squishy form, and now more in his classic robotic form. That is one of the few things I know about the old games, is that I do prefer Dr. Nefarious's design in those ones to what it was in the reboot. I believe in the lore of those games it was hinted at that he was once a squishy person, so maybe they're gonna show his process of becoming the robotic Dr. Nefarious that we know from the classics. But we are also teased with a new Lombax character, and it's pretty unclear who they are and where they come from. Now, my immediate assumption was that this is a female counterpart to Ratchet. However, I read online somewhere that female Lombaxes don't have tails and this character has a tail. Maybe there's some interdimensional fuckery, or maybe they're going down the route of this character being gender non-conforming. Maybe they're going down the progressive route with this. Either way, it's something for long-term Ratchet and Clank fans to speculate about, basement dwellers to lose their shit over, and Rule 34 artists to discover themselves with. I was also incredibly impressed with how much gameplay they showed of this as well. This is probably the most we've seen the PlayStation 4 in action, and obviously being a game that showcases the power of the solid-state drive, Ratchet & Clank gave us the best glimpse as to what the PlayStation 5 is going to be all about, and definitely sold the PlayStation 5 the most for me. This is going to be a very powerful, very speedy machine. Now, there's not much word on this, but there is some curiosity factor as to whether or not this will be available on the PlayStation 4, but I would say it's safe to assume definitely not. Because much of Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart seems to pivot on the PlayStation 4's solid-state drive and their very fast read speeds. And it seems like that world hopping is a very core mechanic of this game, like it's going to be integral to the gameplay, and that if you take that out of there, you're going to be getting loads and loads and loads and loads of load times. I do not think the PlayStation 4 could handle this in a way that would be in any way efficient or fun. Like, you'd want to put the controller down after the first 7 load times you'd get. But put it this way, if this is the second Ratchet & Clank game I ever play, I'm very excited. I'm tempted to see if there's any way of accessing the back catalog of previous Ratchet & Clank games on my PlayStation 4 without, say, I don't know, a PlayStation Plus subscription, because I'm really not made of money, contrary to popular belief. But I think when the time does come, probably in 2022 at this rate, that I do buy a PlayStation 5, I think this is gonna be one of the first games I pick up for that console. Maybe this and Spider-Man Miles Morales, provided that that is a new game and not just a DLC for a remastered, because screw that, especially when it's been advertised as a new game. But yeah, no, I think they really hit the ground running, showcasing Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart very early on. It looks like a very exciting game. It looks like it's going to be a very novel concept to the Ratchet & Clank series overall, so color me excited. What do you think, guys? Comment below and discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, why don't you head over to channelpup.net, where you can visit our blog page, Dr. Blogtopus, but you can also buy merch, such as the official Channel Pup replica hoodie. And I mean, if you insist here, guys. Maybe hit subscribe, maybe hit the like button, and in the description below are the links to my social media handles, including the Patreon, where your contribution can help me run this channel, and really keep it alive. That aside, I am really grateful that you checked out this video today. Thank you so much for watching, fellow home dog. See you on another video.